quick video on the Losi DBXL. This here is obviously my SE10. We'll get this out of the way, but I just wanted to show the difference in size of the fifth scale. I told myself I would never buy a fifth scale because they were stupid and ridiculous and they're expensive. And I've gone through a few models now. I have my SE10. I have a few other crawlers. I have 18 scale. I have 8 scale Losi 8. So I've kind of gone through all the RC cars over the last few years. And when people would talk about fifth scale, I would just kind of roll my eyes and, kind of ignore them because I just thought that they were just too big. So recently I was at a hobby shop in Arizona and I see this desert buggy, and the desert buggy is phenomenal. So I'll pull it out. There she is. So you can see that this is a much, much larger machine. So I'm going to talk about it a bit and kind of talk about do's and don'ts and maybe some things that you might want to look at when you actually get the truck. If you want to see some videos of the truck running, there's the thumbnail link right here, and you'll be able to link right onto that and see some pretty huge jumps that I've done at the Imperial Dunes in California, and a few other jumps that I did in Arizona. So I'll talk quickly about the car, what I've broken on it already, what I've done to try to maintain it, and what I've done to run it. When I originally got the car, I did my regular break-in. Before I could even do that, though, the air filter was very, very fussy. The stock air filter is very restrictive, and I actually ran the car for the first break-in period with no filter on the outside, only the inner oiled filter. Car ran great. Issue with that filter, though, is it plugs up very quickly with dust. So you would be running great for a while, and when I actually started running the car in the dirt, it'd plug up with dirt. Which is what it's supposed to do. That tacky oil is supposed to collect the dust and stop it from going in the engine, but it would plug it up and it would actually choke out the engine again. I ran it on 105 race gas, which was awesome. I don't think you need to go that high in the octane, but it definitely made life running it quite easily. I'll talk quickly about the body. This cage is amazingly strong. It's taken a huge beating so far. The only issue is at the back here, I've actually busted off one of the posts. That's from some pretty gnarly crashes, I have to say. So that's gone. The body clips on the side here. These body clips are very hard to take out. So I just use 110 scale friggin' regular blue cotter pin style clips on the body. Most of the time I only do the two outsides. The way that the car is made, the outside's going to get smashed up before these side panels are going to pop off. So I only normally run two in there just for ease of popping off the chassis and stuff. I still run all 6 on the top. There's actually 6, 2 at the back, 2 in the mid here of the chassis, and then of course the 2 in the front. I decided to throw my GoPro mount right here. You can see one of the videos there that I did of it running with a GoPro mount. I'll link it to the page up on the corner. You can take a look at that one, and we'll pop this bad boy off. So off comes the body. It's pretty dirty. If you look in here, you actually see how much the exhaust blows out oil onto that during the first break-in period. I haven't cleaned it out yet. I will. I've been lazy. I need to freaking get on the maintenance instead of just running this thing as hard as I can. Talk about a few other things. Putting on the body, you got to watch out for these posts at the front. The body panels like to flip in and get caught on those things. So just remember, when you're fighting it on, you're like, why won't this thing go on? You just got to simply reach up underneath. Most of the time it's just caught underneath, pop it out, place it on. We also got the lovely antenna here. This is running the new DSMR 401 receiver in it. So the antenna is actually this long, but the range is phenomenal. You'll see on the one video where I send it out on a dune, and it's like a dot out there, and I have full control of the car still. But it likes to get, when you go to put the body on, it likes to get bent underneath. So always remember to move that out of the way. All right. So a couple other little startup points. When you first get the car, make sure you set your endpoints. I did that pretty much right away, and the car ran great. The actual servos on this thing have been running great. I've had no issues with them whatsoever. I think it's a fun car, and like I said, I never thought I'd be big into fifth scale, and I don't think I'm gonna go too crazy with fifth scale, but it's definitely fun when you can run 40 minutes on a tank of two-stroke gas. All right, so I'm gonna spin this bad boy around. I'm gonna talk about the air filter and stuff here. So this is the one big mod that I did. So this is obviously my outer filter. You can see all the dust coming off. I obviously have to do some maintenance, which I'm actually going to do tonight. I wanted to just show you kind of some of the stuff. You can see some of the oil actually on the outer filter, which I think is a good thing. It means I've obviously oiled my filter properly. So I'll just pop this bad boy off. So this is a two-stage filter. So you obviously have the very coarse foam on the outside, catches a lot of the bigger gunk and dirt, and then if you look on the inside, you'll see that it's a very fine, clean filter on the inside. No real dirt made it in through there. So this Losi stack is actually an aftermarket part from DDM Racing, and it's actually, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure this is what took away a lot of my, I won't say tuning nightmares, but the car gets onto the pipe way earlier. Like the car is up into the high RPMs within seconds of opening that throttle, which is awesome. It just makes it that much more fun, and it's a great little addition. Velocity stacks, I mean, obviously they use a Venturi technology where air gets funneled down, and as that air gets funneled down into a Venturi, it moves faster. I mean, we're not talking like super fast like a turbo or supercharger, but we're talking a lot faster than just having an open air port. Venturis actually do increase that airspeed going into the carburetor, especially when wide open throttle. That made a big difference, and everything runs great. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I actually had to cut out the body. That's a bad shot. I actually had to cut out the body right here, but it's kind of interesting because the original filter already kind of sits in this hole. There's a piece of the cage. If I flip it back the other way, you can see there's the cage here. It's already sitting in that spot. And the interesting thing is that the actual plastic, I cut that out. It was already pre-marked, just like when you buy any other RC body, it's already pre-cut around the fender wells and all that stuff like that. This was actually already pre-cut for this loop to be taken out. So that was a simple, quick mod. Haven't had too many other big issues. Suspension's been good. I blew out the front sway bar. One of the end links just popped off, and of course, whenever you buy a new vehicle from, and I won't just blame Losi for this, but if you buy a new vehicle from any RC manufacturer in the first couple of weeks of it coming out, most of the parts are on back order of anything that you want. So it can be frustrating, but in my opinion, don't need a front sway bar on a bash machine. And I mean, yeah, there's some guys that may race this, and but I think the most part, most people will buy a fifth scale to just have a lot of fun with, and it didn't need the front sway bar. I've been running it hard, and it corners fine. It corners great. I left the rear sway bar on. Rear sway bar is running fine. I wish I could move my laptop camera. This is like my first video. Obviously, I'm doing this in a hotel room while I'm on a work trip. So obviously, I can't take you around the whole car, but I'll try and show you a few other things. So if I flip the car up on its side here, you'll see that I have we have rubber boots in here, right? But these rubber boots are not greased underneath here or nothing. They're just protective boots to prevent like all the dirt and grime and stuff to come out. And the back ones somehow like to get chewed up. So that was one of the first things I had to buy. Like this one here is already shredded. You may not be able to see that in the camera, but I can actually stick my finger through the sides of it. It's already fried. So after I do a good cleaning of this whole car, I'm going to obviously pop my dog bones off again and replace those. And I'm going to put just a little bit of silicone in them so that they're like a little bit softer, like they actually slide a bit. I think the first set I really chewed up almost instantly because they were just dry. There was no anything. So I just put a little bit of shock oil in there, and that lubed it up quite well. I don't think it's worth to grease these dog bones. I've been running them pretty hard. Talk about the pipe. Obviously, this is just a bolt-on muffler. It's not a pipe, but it works. And pipes are probably one of the best price things that you could probably do, but I might have another answer this in another video. But this here is a 29cc top end upgrade. It costs you $75. Can't argue with that. $75, I get more cc, I get more power, and I can run the same carburetor, just obviously slightly tuned different, and the same muffler. And I'm gonna have way more freaking power. And if you get the tuned right, like, yeah, a tuned pipe, well, you'll get on the pipe easier, and you'll have that little bit more of a like initial rush. I mean, anybody that rides two-stroke dirt bikes totally understands that concept. But it runs fine. Like, it's still a lot of fun. And for $200, $250 for a pipe, I don't know. You'd have to convince me that it's going to make a real big difference. Now, there's a couple of aftermarket things that I did do. Like I said, I did that air filter, the velocity stack. One other one, though, is my clutch carrier. Now, the clutch carrier is plastic, and it has a metal aluminum insert. But I just went straight to the Bartolone all aluminum billet clutch carrier with the Preston bearings, and it is a very, very nicely engineered piece. A little tip to note on that, though, because it's aluminum and you're putting metal screws in it, and this thing vibrates and it gets the crap beat out of it. Ensure you Loctite it. I Loctited them with blue, and they still backed out, and I had to make sure that I did the Loctite process properly, where you actually put the Loctite on, you let it dry, and then you put it in. I mean, most of the time I'm lazy with my Loctiting. I just put blue Loctite on, crank her in, she'll dry eventually, good to go. This time I had to do it properly, ensure that all the threads were coated in the Loctite, and that she actually solidly locked down. Now, one other thing is your actual pinion. When you put that back on, I would suggest, and I'm reluctant to suggest this, but use red Loctite. This is the second time now that my pinion has come undone, and I don't know if you can hear it, but it's you can hear it just slamming around in there, and that's actually not my proper backlash for the gearing that you hear. It's actually it sliding back and forth, and it almost sounded like a bell in there. So if I actually pulled this off, you'd see that it was actually sliding back and forth, and I actually damaged my spur gear with that. So that's basically everything I want to talk about this car. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's amazingly built. You can look up all the stats. I'm not going to bore you with all the stats on the car. There's many other reviews, awesome reviews on it. DJ Medic does an amazing unboxing, as he always does, and there's actually a few real good first looks at this model. So this is my opinion. It doesn't mean anything, but those that are taking their car out, just remember some of the small stuff, and you can't say I didn't warn you, but very addictive fun.